All right, welcome back. We're answering stories about supervision, and I'm going through my career. I have 19 years on now, and I'm now a supervisor. So I'm going to tell you some supervisory stories that I had to encounter, along with telling you about competent and incompetent supervisors at my level. Okay, if you want to ask me a question, email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions, okay? Okay, so now I've got a squad, and I'm teaching the squad how to do things, okay? And one of my guys got a clue where he had an informant that wanted to meet wanted to introduce one of my officers to a crook, and it's just a meet. There's no narcotics exchange. There's no, just to get a feel, to introduce. What you do is the informant will bring an undercover officer in to meet the crook, and they'll have a talk. And at that time, you tell the informant to leave. The informant leaves, and now you just have the undercover officer and the crook talking. And then the next meet, they'll just meet without the informant, and then maybe have another meet, try to get the informant as far away from this as possible, and then maybe the second or third meet, you'll have a talk about distributing money, and then we'll do the negotiation. Okay, so it takes several steps to get this done on a higher level. We're not talking about rock houses stuff. We're talking about people dealing in half pounds and pounds and whatever of coke. So this is high end negotiations. So here's my first exposure to my new lieutenant. My other lieutenant in the other unit was an ex-motor officer, and now he's a lieutenant. Nice guy, bean counter, not really, never been a detective, so doesn't know what we have to do. Thinks he does. My line always is that if you read a cookbook, you're not a cook. Okay, you just can read a cookbook, and that's what these guys would do. They walk around thinking I'm in charge of detectives. Yeah, but you never made a case in your life. You wouldn't know how to make one if it bit you in the butt. And if somebody told you to write a search warrant, you wouldn't know what the hell to do. Okay. I've written probably 100 search warrants, okay? Most of us have, okay, not just me. Anyway, so now I got a new lieutenant, because you go to a new unit, you got a new lieutenant, okay. I was there about 2 weeks, and again, my top step deals with lieutenants, I don't. So I thought, he seems okay, even though he was kind of loyal to, we had a secretary that seemed to run the unit, but that's what happens sometimes. The lieutenant doesn't want to be involved in minor administrative stuff, so the girl starts dictating what we do and how we do it, and then of course the top step, there was 3 of them, had to tell her, no, you don't tell us what to do. So there's all kinds of in-office stuff going on there. It's always been that way. So we have an operation. One of my guys, we didn't have an undercover officer that we could use, so we had to bring one over, because we didn't have we had 2 minorities, but they were new. I told you in the last video, they're new guys, so we don't want to expose them to this yet. And when a precious commodity, your undercover officer, so we want to make sure that he's ready to go. They weren't ready, so we borrowed another officer from another unit, came over, and he volunteered, so we briefed him. And okay, so now we're going to have a meet. Okay, so when you have an undercover officer involved, and this is supervisor here all the way, when you have an undercover officer involved in an operation, as a supervisor, your primary function is to protect him. Everybody wants to protect him, but he was under me, assigned to me, so I take it personal. And I was undercover, and guys took me personal, and now I'm in charge of undercover, and I want nothing to happen to this guy. So our primary function is to protect him. And my boss and I used to be undercover together as partners. We think the same way. Okay, so now we have this parking lot surrounded with undercover cars, and the crook shows up at like a fast food place, and then my undercover officer pulls in, and the informant pulls in, and they're having a meet. Now they have a wire on. Our undercover officer has a wire, so we're listening to one of my guys listening to the wire, make sure there's okay. There's some audio signals that he might be robbed. We have someone inside there to cover him to make sure if he gets robbed, they have all kinds of hand signals that he'll be protected. That will kill who's ever robbing him. I mean, I hate to sound blunt, but that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to let anybody get hurt, citizens or officers. Okay, so we're doing this. Okay, so my boss is coordinating it. I'm coordinating it. The biggest thing you want when an undercover officer is talking with a crook is radio silence. Okay, nobody says anything on the police radio, because that guy's listening to that conversation. He has to make sure he hears what he needs to hear. Like things like, "Please don't shoot me" is our signal. We're going to move in because he's got a gun on him. Okay, so there's things like that. So he's waiting. So this lieutenant comes on the air, and my boss is, I don't know what his call. I'll say his call sign was 60. I don't know what it was. 60, you up? I'm like, and he was briefed. Lieutenant was briefed at the briefing. And number one thing was, because I gave the briefing, okay, is Radio silence. Okay. Only person that talks is the guy that's got the ear to the wire. He's the only one that talks. He's the one that say he needs help now. I mean, that's all you want to hear. That's what you're there for. And so my boss goes, I'm over here. Okay, where's that near? Oh, God. He goes, oh, over here. Trying to keep it short. All right. Can you imagine? It's like a party line. And I'm going, what is going? So I see him driving around the parking lot, and then he's talking. Everything's fine. The guy on the wire says everything seems to be okay. They're just talking. The informant is left because we note that we see him leaving. He drives off. We know who the informant is. We know his car. My guy's just telling us that real quick. The informant's out. He's gone. That's all you need to say. Okay, he's gone. Okay, so now it's the undercover officer, the crook, and two of my guys in McDonald's. I think it was McDonald's. I don't remember where it was. Covering him. They're having a hamburger. They're just there to watch, make sure he's okay. So I'm sitting there, and then very unusual for my boss to get on the air because we're the ones that are very stickler for radio silence. He says, "Hey," calls my name out. "Meet me over here." So I go over there. "What's going on?" I'm trying to listen to everything at the same time. He goes, my boss says, "I'm out of here." I go, "What?" He goes, "The lieutenant's trying to run the show. Tell me what to do. Tell me where to deploy." He got on the radio, was broadcasting. I said, I told him that he shouldn't do that. He told me that he's in charge, and he drove off. I said, "Oh," he said, "I'm leaving." "You're leaving in the middle of an operation?" "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." He drove away. See my boss drive away into the sunset. I still got a case going here. Not going to affect me because, again, like I said earlier, the undercover officer is doing the case. We're helping him. We're covering him. So it doesn't really affect this particular ongoing meeting because we're covering him. He's covered. There's no danger to the undercover officer because my boss left. This is all administrative stuff. Okay, fine. So me went on for like 15 minutes. And it's over. It's in Spanish. So the guy we had listening spoke Spanish. And so he comes to me, and I pull up next to him. I get out of the car, and everything okay, everything's fine, because we're hidden. He says, "Yeah, they're going to break up." Okay, so I hear the talk, "See you later, adios," whatever. So off they go. Okay, so we knew where the guy lived, so we didn't have to follow him, because we're going to follow him another day. We thought we were straight on resources, because anyway, so we let the guy drive off. Usually we'd follow him, but not today. Okay, so UC came back. We had a pre-meet, or after meet. Thank the UC, took his wire off, got all the information. Thank you a lot. We took our report. He made some notes. We're good. Well, we're talking there. My lieutenant's standing there. He's looking around. He's looking for my boss. He doesn't know where he is. Okay, so we had a debriefing, and I think he stood there thinking, "How are we having a debriefing? Why am I giving the debriefing and my boss isn't here?" It had a look on his face like, okay, well, okay, interesting. So I told everybody, "See everybody in the morning." Okay, so everybody took off. I'm going to my car. The lieutenant goes, "Oh, come here for a second." "Yeah. Where's so-and-so?" "Oh, he left." He goes, "When did he leave?" 20 minutes ago. He looks at me. 20 minutes ago? Oh boy, and I thought, here we go. I told you before in my videos, sometimes you got to pull that belt and tell the truth. You may not like the truth when they ask you a question, okay? So he goes, "Why did he leave?" I thought, oh boy, here's the pregnant question. I went, well, he didn't really, I almost copped out, didn't say it, but I did. I said, well, he didn't say much. He did. I said, he just felt that you were running it. I think that's what it boils down to. What? I mean, I was running it. I said, I don't know. I said, I shouldn't be in the middle of this. "Oh, we'll see about that." So he storms off. "We'll see about that." Well, okay, here's a finger, pick one, okay? So he took off. Okay, so I thought, okay, now I know what this, I've been here 2 weeks, and I already don't like this guy already, okay, because he's got a bad attitude, and okay, fine. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't know. So everybody took off. Okay, so I called my boss. We didn't have cell phones then, believe it or not. So I called. When I got to the first phone I called him at home. He goes, "Okay, no problem. I said, I'll deal with it tomorrow." I said, "Okay." I said, "Can I tell you what? Can I tell you something?" He goes, "What?" I said, "I'm going to tell, if he's going to confront me, I know he is." He says, "Tell him what you think." I said, "Okay," because I want you to know, I'm going to tell him what I think, that he shouldn't be doing that. "Well, you tell him what you are now a supervisor. You're my assistant. You're my mouthpiece. So you need to tell him whatever you want to tell him, but we need to agree on this because I'm going to come in there guns firing." "Oh, no, there's nothing here. We both think exactly the same. We're both partners, vice, undercover, supervisors. We are joined at the hip at birth. We are really together on this, okay? Because we're very adamant about protecting undercover officers. That's our job, man." Okay, so okay, fine. So sure enough, man, I always go to work early. Our work starts at 10. I get there like 9:20. I beat the traffic. I get it. I walk in the office, and I get to my desk, and I hear his door open up, the lieutenant. He has his own little office in there. He pokes his head out, sees me and, pins me. Hey, can I talk for a second? Yeah, sure. Why am I in the middle of this? Okay, so I go in there and sit down. He goes, I've had a chance to think about this. Oh, boy. Sometimes you think, why did I become a supervisor? If I was just a little low worker, be out in the car, no one would bother me ever. I come to work, I eat, I go to the bathroom, I find shade. When I told you my other stories, okay? The big three, okay, on realcopstoriesvideos.com. Very important. Food, potty, and shade. And then I just go home. Now I've got politics, I got lieutenants yelling at me, I got my boss takes off. This is not fun. But you know what? I'm getting paid for it, so let's get it on, okay? Let's do it. He goes, well, do you think I interfered? And I said, you want to know the truth, sir, or you want me to lie? And boy, I like to do that. I love that. That's just a fish hook thrown out there ready for that whale. He goes, well, yes, you interfered. You look at his face. What? I said, you trust my boss and myself to run this operation. We are supervisors with some tenure. He's got 22 on, I got 19 on. We've both been undercover. We both know what it's like to be in a dangerous position. We know what we're doing. If you don't trust us, then pick somebody else. You should sit back. And he's looking at me like, how dare this guy? You should sit back and enjoy the operation, see if anything major screwed up. If it's not, then just wait till it's over if you're going to correct us. Otherwise, just go back and enjoy it. Why would you want to take responsibility for this when you already have two supervisors to take responsibility for it? If something goes sideways, you're not going to be blamed for this. Everybody's worried about being blamed. Oh my God, I'll never make captain. No, I said, if something goes sideways, we're going to get blamed for it, but it's not going to go sideways because we do this. But he felt you were interfering, so he felt he wasn't needed. You're in charge, so he left. Well, that's what you think? I said, yes, it is. There's a chain of command here, and it should have been adhered to. Well, I don't agree with you on that. I said, well, that's fine, sir. I mean, you wanted my opinion. If you ask me the question, I'll tell you the truth. I was, oh, okay. Well, that's the way you feel? Yes, it is the way you feel. Well, I'm in charge. I said, there's never a question, sir, of who's in charge. But tactically, when this operation is going, he's in charge. Because he has to run the troops, our troops, my troops. Well, yeah. Well, thank you. Okay, dismiss me. Okay, fine. I go outside. My boss is walking in. See you for a second. Hey, there he goes. My boss goes in there. Well, I'm telling you how my conversation went. The tone of it, a little high, but not bad. Okay. He had a door closed. You could hear murmurs in there. That means they were yelling at each other. Okay. My guys came in. I go, hey guys, we're gonna meet at so and so at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like almost 11 now. Everybody just go to lunch. Get your paperwork ready, and then we'll meet at this one location like at 2:30ish, and we'll start our surveillance in. So we just get out of there. They're having a problem in there with the lieutenant. I told him briefly. They go, oh, they want to get out of there. They don't want to be a part of this, which is good because they're worker bees, one-dimensional. Go out and get bad guys. That's all they should be doing. Okay, so my boss comes out, and he's Latin like me, and his face was red as a tomato, man. Okay, he was a well done tomato on the oven. Okay. And he's looking at me, and we could, where we're at, our office, we could actually walk downstairs now to a mall and go eat. So let's go have lunch. Okay, so we get down there, and he tells me, yeah, pretty much the same conversation. That you don't tell me what to do, and blah blah. And they're yelling. They're yelling at each other. I'm a lieutenant. I don't care. Yeah, well, And now here it comes. Now it degenerates into my boss saying, well, if you have a problem with this, let's just go to the captain and settle it. Okay, you don't want to go to the captain. The captain has a lot of 400 and some officers. He does not need two squabbling supervisors coming in there wanting to resolve this thing. Again, the lieutenant doesn't want that to happen either because it's going to feel to the captain he can't control his employees because we're having problems here. That's unnecessary. So basically, it came back that he appreciated my honesty, and that we must have briefed each other because it was virtually the same thing that he said. The top step did, and he told me, we didn't brief on anything. It says we both think alike because this is the way it's supposed to be. I told you earlier in those stories. All these stories I told, over 400. It's easy to tell these stories because it's the truth. It's hard to lie in court anywhere. So so he's telling him we didn't brief. This is just the way we both think. We called each other, but I want to make sure that I called him to tell him what I was going to tell the lieutenant. I didn't tell him that is this okay with you? I told him what I'm going to say because I'm opinionated. I'm a supervisor, and I wanted to make sure it all came out. But anyway. So that was our discussion with this guy, and he calmed down a little bit. He had other problems with another squad, so he kind of got off us a little bit. We went out, made some cases, and he was happy about that. And so that worked out all right. But I'll tell you, man, it's there's another one coming up here. I'm running out of time on this lieutenant, and it'll be the next story. It's an interesting one too about politics and stuff. So I'll see you next time. Okay. All right. Bye bye.